Later on. Good morning. Good to have you with us on this Monday. I'm Joe Fryer.
And I'm Ellison Barber in for Savannah Sellers. This morning, 28 million Americans are under heat alerts as extreme temperatures continue to hit large portions of the country from the southwest all the way to Miami.
And get ready this week. Those extreme temperatures are expected to expand beyond those regions. Forecasters say the heat wave will soon cover much of the U.S. Cities like Miami have been dealing with the dangerous heat for more than a month now. Today is the 44th consecutive day the city has seen a heat index above 100 degrees, and that sweltering streak will continue through this week.
I don't remember the summers ever being this bad. This has been awful. These weeks have been rough to get through. Yeah.
The West is also baking. Phoenix is in the middle of its own hot streak, with folks there dealing with 25 days straight of temperatures over 110 degrees. So far, the Midwest and Northeast have avoided the extreme heat wave, but forecasters say that ends this week. The oppressive heat is expected to expand into those regions in the coming days. And it's not just here in the U.S. The extreme heat is also being felt overseas in China and in southern Europe, with dangerous temperatures recorded in countries like Italy and Greece. We've got team coverage on the extreme heat all morning. We begin with NBC News correspondent Marissa Parra. She joins us now from Miami. So, Marissa, as we said, day 44 with the heat index above 100 degrees where you are. Describe for us what the heat feels like this morning, what it's felt like over the last few days there.
Hey, yes, two very different answers there. Remember, it is about 7 in the morning here, so the sun is just barely starting to rise. It actually feels pretty nice right now because it's 7 in the morning. So it's 85 degrees right now, feels like 97. Now, that's a big jump, right? But it's going to get oppressively hot, of course, as the sun gets higher. It gets in those later afternoon hours. That's when it is just pretty much downright unbearable to be outside, and even by Miami standards, because again, this is an area that knows heat. In fact, you mentioned a lot of cities that know heat, Phoenix being one of them, Miami being another. It gets humid, it gets hot, but you just mentioned 44 consecutive days of a real feel in the triple-digit temps, add in humidity. It gets pretty difficult to be outside for much longer than you have to, really, even for people who live here. We talked to a number of them, and they said, yeah. Again, even for the people that are used to heat, this is a lot.
Yeah, and if Miami's complaining, then you know it's something. I mean, emergency responders,
Right.
They're seeing an increase in heat calls all over the country. That includes where you are in Miami. They also have to wrestle with the heat, especially with all the gear they have to wear. So what precautions are they taking?
Yeah, one of them being they're actually doubling up their units, that is personnel when they arrive on the scene for emergencies. We actually had a chance to speak with the chief fire officer for Miami-Dade County. Listen for yourself.
We're just trying to take extra precautions, trying to take more breaks, definitely hydrate a lot more. On emergency scenes, calls that might have taken, 5 or 6 units, we're pretty much doubling personnel to rotate crews in and out much quicker, giving them short amount of time to work and more rest in between.
So the reason for that being twofold. I mean, not only is it just the fact that these are humans too, and they're having to wear all that heavy gear when they're doing something like fighting a fire, or just bare minimum going to a heat call, checking up on someone. Because it is so hot, they're having to be exposed to the heat in a way that's even different than the way we are, because they have to do it often, and they also have to wear equipment while they're doing it. But then on top of that, something that is just a running theme here, because we've been talking about this heat for weeks straight. It's just the consecutive nature of this. I mean, we've talked about this across different cities that we've been reporting on heat from, and it again is the consecutive nature, the marathon, if you will, that has them taking extra precautions to make sure that they can finish across the finishing line whenever that finish line makes itself known, Joe, because this seems to be going on endlessly.
Yeah, definitely not in sight right now. Very quickly, Marissa, while we have you, I want to ask you what's going on out west in Phoenix.
Yeah, I mean, two different types of heat, but heat is heat. It's a drier heat out there, but I will say it was very difficult to be outside for more than a few minutes. I mean, that is a very dangerous situation because you have asphalt heating up to 160, sometimes 180 degrees, people getting third-degree burns just from touching the asphalt for a few seconds, Joe. So very different types of heat, but dangerous nonetheless.
All right, Marissa Parra in Miami. Marissa, thank you so much.
NBC News foreign correspondent Josh Letterman joins us now from Rhodes, Greece. Josh, we can see that wildfire burning behind you. It has been burning there, a number of wildfires since Tuesday. Have fire crews been able to make any sort of progress?
On the Greek mainland, they have, Ellison, but here on the island of Rhodes, just to put it bluntly, the fire is totally outside of control at this point in time. You can see there's a bit of an active fire burning just behind me here, but if you look over here to this valley, I mean, it is just completely covered in smoke, devastated over the last week or so by these wildfires, and you can see just how windy it is right now, and that is really the big problem, because that is whipping up these flames, making it almost impossible for firefighters to fight, also making it hard to predict where it's going to go. We are safely upwind of the fire now, thankfully, but earlier today we were in the village of Gennady as it was being evacuated. This is a coastal village here in Rhodes, and just a few minutes later, the whole village really started to come under fire. That fire has now pushed all the way through the village, all the way to the coast. So it goes to show you just how unpredictable it is, as 19,000 people have already been evacuated here in Greece, the largest evacuation in the country's history. And now there is a brand new fire burning on the island of Corfu. Thousands of people being evacuated there as well, Allison.
Wow, Josh, and it's not just Greece, right? Italy is another European country that's been getting hit hard by the heat. What is the latest there this morning?
Yeah, in Sicily over the weekend, Ellison, they saw temperatures above 116 degrees, and they are facing wildfires there, too. A big concern in Italy is they're starting to see their death toll as a result of this extreme heat mount. They now have at least 5 reported deaths. Authorities there are very concerned that that toll is just going to grow.
And Josh, Pope Francis has also addressed the climate crisis. He talked about it yesterday. What did he have to say?
Yeah, that's right. We heard the Pope at St. Peter's Square yesterday really talking about the fact that we're seeing this extreme heat in Europe, flooding in South Korea, and citing that to say, look, it's obvious we're not doing enough. He is calling on world leaders to really step up their game on climate change, saying it is clear we have no more time to waste on this. The Pope, though, is also sending a message of solidarity to those who are hardest hit by climate change, as well as to those around the world who are doing their best to help them. Ellison.
Josh Letterman in Greece, thank you so much.
Let's take a closer look at the week ahead and get a check on your morning News Now forecast. Meteorologist Michelle Grossman joins us with that. Michelle, good morning.
Good morning to you guys, and we're going to see more of the same. It's a new week, and we're going to see that heat continuing, intense heat, dangerous heat, record-breaking heat, and it does not look like there's an end in sight. So let's start with what we're looking at today, because we're looking at 30 million Americans under a heat alert once again. We have heat advisories, that's in the orange, also excessive heat warning, including Salt Lake City, Phoenix, Miami. Miami, you're going to be in the 90s, but you factor in the humidity, it's going to feel like over 100 degrees. Triple digits in Phoenix, triple digits in Salt Lake City, and we're going to see triple digits as far north as the Intermountain West, also the Rockies. Take a look at some of these numbers. 100 degrees today in Salt Lake City. That's 8 degrees above normal. Billings, same story, 100 degrees, 93 in Bismarck. It's warm too in Minneapolis, 91. So you can see how far-reaching this heat is. 110 in Tucson and 102 today in El Paso. As we go throughout tomorrow, more of the same, but notice it shifts off to the east. So we're seeing this heat dome still tacked in place, but expanding to portions of the northern plains, the Intermountain West, the east, and then eventually into the northeast. So tomorrow, Roswell, New Mexico, we're looking at 106, 13 degrees above average. Minneapolis, warm once again, 94, 96 in Rapid City. And we're looking at triple digits in Pueblo, Amarillo, and also Dallas. Wichita, you're going to be at 101. That's 9 degrees above normal. So this is what's happening. We're seeing that jet stream lifting to the north. That heat dome is expanding. So we're seeing that heat spread 10 to 15 degrees above average in parts of the Great Lakes, the Midwest, and Northern Plains, and then eventually into the Northeast, where we're going to see temperatures in New York City by Thursday into the mid-90s, 95 by Friday. That's not the only problem. We're going to factor in the humidity there. It's going to feel like very close to 100 degrees. Cleveland, we're into the 90s. Kansas City, 99 on Thursday, 98 on Friday. And this is the heat index. This is what it feels like on our body. So it's going to feel like close to 100 degrees in New York City on Friday. It's going to feel like 103 in Norfolk. You get the idea. We're not going to see any break from this heat. And then as we look towards next week, warmer than average. No surprise, I guess, in portions of the south, into the central plains, the southeast, into the mid-Atlantic, and parts of the northeast as well. That's one side of the story today, a big major weather story. We're also looking at the chance for summer storms, summer showers. We're looking at some really heavy showers in parts of the Central Plains right now. Also the Carolinas. I've been watching this over the past few hours with some really heavy rain falling. It's a pair of fronts that will be moving through, bringing those widely scattered storms. And some could be pretty strong with a chance of winds gusting up to 60 miles per hour, some hail, even the chance of a tornado or two. And guys, as part of that climate connection, we're looking at the chance too for some really heavy downpours. Warming atmosphere holds a lot more moisture. And when we have these drenching downpours, we could see some flooding as well. Back to you.
All right, Michelle, thank you. All this extreme weather, it is having an impact on airline passengers this summer. 26,000 flights have been canceled since Memorial Day, which is the start of the busy summer travel season. As NBC's Tom Costello explains, some airline CEOs warn the climate change effect is here to stay.
431 LaGuardia has been caught in a ground stop.
In a summer of extreme heat, torrential rain, and violent storms.
We're just looking at these thunderstorms that we're monitoring.
We've got thunderstorms north of Houston, around the San Antonio area.
How are you? All right. Have a great day.
The nation's airports and airlines have been in the bullseye with cancellations running days on end. Since Memorial Day weekend, 343,000 flights delayed, nearly 26% of the total.
LaGuardia has entered into a ground stop. This is for weather and thunderstorms in the area.
In late June, hundreds of thousands of passengers were grounded after violent storms parked over Newark and Denver for days. Most affected, United Airlines, forced to cancel up to a third of its flights.
It's historically unprecedented, at least, to have multi-day events.
Now, United's CEO is warning this could be the new normal.
The regular operations events are, going to be more likely to occur as the climate warms, more heat in the atmosphere, thermodynamics 101. We're going to have more thunderstorms.
100 above. Checked.
Atmospheric researchers agree and say high-altitude turbulence has also grown stronger over the decades, sending service cars, food, drinks, and passengers flying.
Do we have any trained medical personnel? Do we have any doctors, nurses?
It already happens 5,500 times each year and projected to grow 2 to 3 times worse in the years to come.
What we can confidently say is that climate change is increasing the amount of clear air turbulence in the atmosphere.
While airlines can warn pilots of turbulence ahead, violent thunderstorms remain the biggest threat.
The number one cause of delays and cancellations is weather.
The NTSB says the increasingly volatile weather and turbulence underscore the need for passengers to wear their seatbelts in flight. It's flight attendants who suffer 78% of injuries during unexpected turbulence because they're most often up and about. Back to you.
Tom, thanks for that.
The showdown at the southern border is heating up. The Justice Department has given the state of Texas until today to commit to removing a controversial barrier on the Rio Grande River or face legal action. At issue, this 1,000-foot-long floating barrier. It was designed and installed to keep migrants from crossing the Rio Grande from Mexico into the U.S. But federal officials say it violates federal law and also poses major humanitarian concerns. NBC News has reached out to Texas Governor Greg Abbott for comment, but he has yet to respond. NBC News Homeland Security correspondent Julia Ainsley joins us now for more on this. So, Julia, walk us through the DOJ's argument here. What laws does it say are being broken by Governor Abbott?
Well, they say it violates the Rivers and Harbors Act. It also could be an obstruction of the federal government's official duties. And they say that it can endanger public safety. Immigration is a federal law, Joe. And so they're saying that this is actually impeding their ability to safely process migrants who typically would cross the Rio Grande, come to them and process them there. And remember, they're already dealing with barbed wire and fencing and along a lot of the border barriers like Trump's border wall. So it's not like there's been nothing to impede them. But the idea is that this is the first time they've been impeded in the water. Previously, migrants would cross the Rio Grande, and before they would get to that other barrier, they could be processed there. And if deemed able to, they could come in and make an asylum claim. Others could be deemed ineligible and put into removal proceedings. This is to keep them from getting a foot onto the U.S. land at all, and it can be incredibly dangerous. And the U.S. government, the federal government, thinks that it will lead to more drownings.
You know, migration advocates also oppose the use of these buoys. What are some of the biggest concerns they've outlined?
In short, drowning. The Rio Grande is already so dangerous. We see over 200 drownings of migrants a year, sometimes over 300 if the numbers at the border are going up. Oftentimes, I've been there, the water looks very still on top, but there's a very fierce undercurrent below. And so this is putting yet another barrier in place. Migrants might be able to think they can get over these buoys, and instead they're stuck. Also, I saw the Texas DPS even considered going a step further by putting some kind of netting or wire underwater, and instead they went with these buoys as kind of a safer alternative. But it's clear from immigration advocates and also the federal government that they're worried this could really put a lot more lives at risk.
So Governor Abbott has until 2 o'clock today to commit to removing the buoys, but it seems like he has no intention to do that. In a tweet posted this weekend, Abbott said Texas has the sovereign authority to defend our border under the U.S. Constitution and the Texas Constitution. So what happens next? How is this likely to play out?
Yeah, it does look like Abbott wants the fight. He wants to show, particularly against a Democrat administration, that he's the one who, has the chops to come out and really enforce immigration law when Biden won't. But I've got to just add some numbers to that, Joe, which show that the Border Patrol has stopped about 850,000 migrants in this area over the same period, where the Texas border troopers that Governor Abbott sent down there apprehended about 11,000. So, it's really a drop in the bucket. They're spending a ton of money on this. They're getting a lot of national attention. But whether or not they're really having an impact on overall migration, it seems like they're really not. So it looks like it's a political fight he wants to have. But we should remember they're actually not doing a lot to really stem the flow of migration, numbers-wise.
Julia, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Let's bring in Kate Lincoln Goldfinch to break this down further. She is an attorney, an immigration attorney based in Texas. Kate, good morning. Thank you so much for being with us. So Governor Abbott's border initiative, what he calls Operation Lone Star, it has faced legal challenges since it launched back in 2021. But the latest legal challenge feels a bit different, particularly because allegations of inhumane treatment have now come from a Texas DPS officer involved in its implementation. Explain to us how today's legal challenges might be a bit different than some of the ones we've seen in the past, say back when the Department of Justice investigated alleged civil rights violations in July of 2022.
Sure. It's pretty rare to see the DOJ step in the way that they are right now. We've seen Greg Abbott do things like busing migrants to other states and launching Operation Lone Star, which, as the previous guest said, has been a drop in the bucket at most in terms of border enforcement, and yet has spent over $10 billion of Texan taxpayer money. But the DOJ stepping in and loudly announcing that they intend to sue the state of Texas is a departure from the norm. And I think that is a response to how egregious these violations are on all levels, on the legal level because it's not within the state jurisdiction to enforce, on the humanitarian level because these are drowning devices, and on the environmental level. This will have a massive impact on the environment, and that's why Mexico is stepping in as well. This is just a step further than we've seen, and it is really egregious.
You mentioned Mexican officials stepping in. They are pushing back against this buoy border, if you will. How much can they be involved here? In terms of the water area, Julia Ainsley was reporting how the goal of these buoys is to keep migrants from ever stepping foot on U.S. land. Who controls that water area?
Well, both countries do, and there are international treaties laying out how that will function. And of course, when there is an international treaty between two nations, it is the governments of those nations that will decide what occurs, not one single state within one of those nations. And that is why the government of Mexico, the Secretary of Foreign Relations, has said, wait a minute, this violates our international treaties, and it's going to cause flooding, or not going to cause flooding. When there is flooding, it will cause issues for the government of Mexico. So we're seeing both governments, the U.S. and the Mexican government, step in and say to Abbott, you've stepped beyond a line. Unfortunately, what we're seeing is that Abbott is responding by saying, okay, we'll take it to court. And at the end of the day, there's one person who is benefiting from all of this attention, and it is Greg Abbott himself.
All right, Kate Lincoln Goldfinch, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.